Has Meghan really struck gold with her own podcast? Well, she seems to think so, but it's now run into trouble, all thanks to her daughter. As ever, let me explain. Morning, lovely to see you, chums. Thank you so much as ever for taking the time out for joining me. It's nice to have your company. Launching anything, sorry, we'll have a wave. Launching anything is not easy, you know. And, you know, when I say these things, it's true. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Meghan Markle has a lot of expertise at her fingertips, but as I've told you, she seems to think that she knows best, knows exactly what to do, and it's always really about her. And this has been the problem when you think about it time and time again. Really, right from the off with the Spotify thing, if you remember with Prince Harry, they did this sort of half-baked thing with, oh, you speak, you've got a better accent. And it was clear that these were two amateurs having a go, and yet Spotify must have seen the writing on the wall and thought, goodness, you know, is this the best we're going to get? But they ploughed ahead, gave them millions, and then decided that they were grifters. But of course, Meghan knew best. And with her new team, alongside, of course, the fact that she's decided, well, now she really knows best, because this initial first episode podcast of her new series called Founders or Founding Females, I can never remember the titles of her things. Well, the bottom line is, you know, well, she thinks that it's done well, and it has scraped its way into one of the Apple podcast charts at number 6. And they received a pinging email saying, told you, because you see, of course, Meghan always knows best. But what I would say is that it's really just the sort of, you know, the, the sort of MacGyver people listening in, media journalists listening to it. Truthfully, I've only heard the clips that are online. I couldn't really sit through these things. I've got to be honest, I used to like audio books, but listening to people, particularly these two people, I have respect for the woman who put together the Bumble thing, and that's a proper business. She's clearly made a very good marketing strategy, made a lot of money, but what did I learn about Meghan's business? Nothing. What we learned was this. This was all about Meghan. Very quickly, we had about, well, 4 or 5 minutes, if you like, if we were lucky, about anything to do with business. And as I said to you before, she's turned it back into herself. And this was her own medical condition that miraculously, which is very much out there in the public domain of this particular lady. Well, the bottom line is they found out that, of course, they had a similar problem while expecting their children and, you know, all that sort of stuff. Very sort of bonding camaraderie, you know. The trouble is that nobody believes Meghan Markle. You know, there are too many fake lies going around that suddenly Meghan attaches herself with these things. Now, there are 2 ways to clear this up. And this is apparently what's going on behind the scenes right now, because what happens, I don't know if you know this, but they can tell the pieces where people are interested, you know, so the analytics, as they call them. And I'm not talking down to you. I learned this myself, right? So in a sort of thing, they can go, yeah, this is the point where people are really interested. And there was a lot of interest in that segment in the podcast. So what they're suggesting, which might make a better idea, is the fact that if Meghan was to talk about that in more detail and perhaps share some more details about exactly how this happened, what happened when, who the medical advisors were, etc., you get the picture. Of course, this is a problem for Meghan because she can't really do that, you know. She likes to throw these things out there, like the pictures of herself selling cookies when she was very young, heavily photoshopped, missing arms. So how true is that picture? Is that an insertion? Is it AI? You see what I mean? There's always controversy around that particular problem with Meghan. Now, what would be fascinating, and I've been told that she's been asked if this would be possible, would be to get on a medical person, perhaps even the person who looked after Meghan to deliver Lilibet, right? Bring that person on to talk about the battles that she was concerned with the Duchess for. If she wants to be open, share intimacy and transparency, this would take away any of the doubt that people have regarding Meghan. And as I pointed out to you before, the internet, whatever, is awash with these outrageous claims that clearly Meghan has tried to shut down, but once again opened yet another can of worms. This has gone silent, but you see, you can't go silent forever, because as the podcast people realise, this was the point where people got interested. You have to talk more about it. And if you want people to be interacting with you, you have to share more. Meghan just shared a little tiny bit. People want more, and if they want her to keep returning as an audience member, then she's certainly going to have to share more. The thing is, would she risk it? Neil Sean, Kensington, London.